how to improve your program's viability. That doesn't assume that you need improvement. It doesn't assume that something you are doing is done wrong. What this is, in 54 years of teaching, I have traveled literally around the country many times, visiting hundreds of college, high school, and industrial programs. And I'm fairly familiar with the big guys, the guys that are really known for running strong programs. And this report or this presentation is a culmination of all of the things that all of them are doing that make them very successful. I'm not saying you're not. I'm not saying you're not successful. This is simply a resource that I'm going to make available to you that will give you these ideas, these suggestions to improve, if need be, your program's viability. I didn't say success, I said viability. What makes your program important or viable to your school? Okay. There'll be some question and answer time at the end if you want to discuss some things. What we're going to do today is very quick, and it certainly isn't going to be enough for you to get what you need from this presentation. So, in addition to the presentation you're going to hear from me, there is a 23-page handout that goes with this class or this presentation that gives you lots of detail on each one of the 46 tips and how to implement them, the problems you run into, the successes you can have with them. And Megan will give you a certificate for attending this presentation and the handout. So make sure that your email is in our hands. So we're going to suggest things that may improve an existing program. We're going to make you aware of some resources for your program that you may not have known about before today. And we're going to introduce new ideas and strategies that you can build your program within your school and community. And if there's time and you want to hang in there for a while, we can have an open forum and discussions. I can answer your questions, or at least try to. The typical automotive instructor profile has dramatically changed in recent years. I'm a professionally trained. I had to go to college for 6 years to become an automotive instructor. Had to do student teaching, the whole 9 yards. Today, that's not done. Many come from a shop or a dealership with very little or no previous teaching experience. Some schools aren't giving much support to you as a new teacher or assistance in knowing how to teach. You sink or swim. Some of you can attest to that. Networking is one of the best methods of learning new ideas and resources to use while you attempt to be your automotive instructor or heavy-duty diesel instructor, whatever. There is a wealth of resources and assistance and information available in our industry for you. The problem is, do you know about it? Hopefully at the end of today, you will have some more information than you had before. Reality check. When a program is perceived as weak and or is even closed, and I know of many auto programs who have been closed recently, who is thought of as the one at fault? The answer is very clear. The instructor is usually the one that's blamed for being the reason that program was closed. That isn't always the case. Solutions. We're going to identify causes and solutions of problems in your program that are unique to your specific case. That's what you need to do. Categorize these into 2 categories. What are they? Things that you can control and can change, and things you cannot. That's an age-old advice. Spend your time and effort on things you can change or impact. However, Today, I think you're going to learn things that you have control over that you really didn't think you could control, when in fact you really can. So keep an open mind, listen, and necessarily think about, well, could this work for me and my program? Be willing to consider that you may need to change some things if you want to realize real improvement. What are some common things that frustrate us as automotive teachers or heavy-duty diesel teachers or EV teachers? What are the common problems and frustrations that we face? Counselors placing inappropriate students in your program, or parents talking students out of enrolling in your program. Low student motivation, enthusiasm, and a lack of desire to learn. The opportunities have never been greater for students. Why can't they see it? I've had many instructors tell me, you must have took some pictures of my class. Low class enrollment numbers due to increased academic requirements by administration. Reading credits, math credits, science credits. Lack of support and a real knowledge of your program by your school administration. Do they really know about your program? Low budgets to support your program. Money is very hard to get today. Lack of tools or equipment to work with, your shop equipment or your hand tools. Lack of newer technology vehicles to work on. What does your fleet look like if I was to see your shop? So here are the common things that we're facing frustration with. Counselors placing inappropriate students in your classes, low student motivation, lack of a desire to learn, low class enrollments due to increased academic requirements, lack of support from administration, low budgets to support your program, lack of tools and equipment to work with, not enough newer vehicles to teach new technologies, and you could add, I'm sure, your own to this list. You may already have a strong program, but you may want to use some of these resources we discussed today. Which ones of the above do you think that you have some control over to change or modify? And the correct answer is every one of them, in my opinion. So the handout looks like this. There's 23 pages of details about each of the 45 tips we're going to discuss today. Each one is hyperlinked. So if you wanted to go to tip number 5, you would simply put your cursor over the PDF, click on it, and it would take you right to that page. You don't have to go through and thumb through pages. And this is an example of one page of the 23. And this shows the details for tips 1, 2, and 3. And if there's any links involved, they're listed. You do not have to take notes today. All of the links that I present to you are going to be in the handout. And they're live if you have the PDF version. Each tip has many details and explanations given to help in initiating each change in your program. Each attendee will receive a certificate for professional development that ASE Education Foundation recognizes, and you'll get a copy of the handout. Okay, Krieger, you've identified some problems. What can I do to change things? Warning, caveat. These suggestions and ideas are from my own experiences and those of the programs I'm familiar with in all parts of the US and Canada. They may or may not be appropriate for your situation. If you're willing If you want to improve your program, you must be willing to carefully examine what you are currently doing and be ready to identify areas that may require changes. Keep an open mind to new ideas. Don't just say that'll never work for me, because usually it would. Like it or not, fair or unfair, most of the suggestions for program viability and improvement will involve primarily the efforts of just one person. Who do you think that might be? Usually, initially, all of the required efforts and extra work fall squarely on your shoulders. This is a fact. Do you have the commitment for doing this? Do you have the time to do this? After successful implementation of many of these ideas, the amount of work required of you may be reduced somewhat depending on each individual case. That was the case for me in many times. Judgment-free zone here. I'm not judging anyone. And I can tell you from being in the hundreds of programs that I visited around the country in the US and Canada and some in foreign countries, I've seen both examples from the very worst to the very best. What do I mean by worst? Well, maybe you know someone like this. Hey, I ain't got time for all this new stuff. I got 3 more years and I'm out of here. Guy's burned out. He wants to get out. Or you have a brand new instructor who has never taught before, overwhelmed with things that he's trying to learn, trying to survive. That's what this presentation is designed to help. Not the burnout guy, right? I can't help him. He's going to retire no matter what. It's the ones that are just starting or need some help that I want to spend my time with. Suggestion solution categories. I've divided all of my suggestions into 4 categories: curriculum and facilities, marketing your program, which maybe you haven't thought about, community involvement with your program, and funding. And most of you would guess 2 items that you have the most control over. That would be for curriculum and facilities and funding. That is not true. The most important thing to improve your program are the other 2 categories: marketing your program and community involvement. There's where the meat is. This is what will make your program more viable. Curriculum and facilities. Have your curriculum reviewed by your advisory committee and peers. Confirm its relevance to local employers, ASC Education Foundation, and current future industry trends. Make necessary changes. If working in a team environment, maybe some of you work in a college, conduct regular curriculum review meetings to ensure relevance. Involve your advisory committee. Very important that you involve them in your curriculum. How else are they going to know what your students can do? Embrace the 2024 ASC Education Foundations, used to be called NATEF, and go with General MLR, AST, or MAST. Begin planning now for your next certification, where most will pick up the 2024 standards if you're not already on them. Hire a good ETL to visit your program to go over things before the actual certification time. This can save you so much effort and time and prevent failures. It's a great idea. Here is the website for the ASC Education Foundation. It's in your handout. This is their homepage, and you would click on schools and instructors for lots of resources and tips to help you with the certification process. Your shop and program. What's the first impression of your shop to a visitor? It's hard for you to understand that. Is it this? Is that a good shop? Or is it this? Which is your shop? Is there an instructor's project car stuck over in the corner somewhere that you let students work on? Is that sending the right message? The next time you enter your shop, and this is hard to do, try to view it as a visitor coming in for the very first time. What is their very first impression of your shop? Does something really stand out in their view? Does your shop look interesting or inviting? Does your shop look professional or no? Can you identify anything that needs changing when you look at it from this point of view? Do you understand the importance of this topic? Extremely critical to have your shop look like it should. Join and use resources. ASE Education Foundation, IATN, ASE, North American Automotive Teachers, NACAT, MAX, AS, ASA, Identifix, CarQuest Technical Institute. Did you know that IATN is free to join, although they have a corporate membership? And on IATN, there's a discussion forum for instructors teaching automotive and heavy-duty diesel. You can ask questions, get lots of information and resources. Did you also know that GM's SET entire course is available for your students free? In addition to lots of information from Ford, Toyota, and Chrysler. Did you know that NACAT has discussion forums regularly where you can sit down and talk with other teachers in addition to their main conference in the summer? This one is going to be held in California in July. Did you know that MAX, if you join MAX, there is a study guide and preparation for your students to become 609 certified, which you have to have a license to buy refrigerant. It's all free. Did you know that as an instructor teaching at any level of school, you have free access to all of the CarQuest Technical Institute classes, given virtually, given online, recorded, or in person? You have free access as an instructor. There's a process of signing up, telling them who you are and where you work, but probably many of you did not know that you have free access to these classes, and I have taken many of them, and each one comes with a very good, well-designed color handout that you get to keep. Get involved in student competitions. Some of you are very heavy into this. Skills USA, National Education, Automotive Technology. Some states have their own competitions. That's to involve your students. Incorporate resources into your program. We have our YouTube channel that you have access to. There are lots of good things in there. Identifix has resources. So does All Data, On Demand, ShopKey, My Automotive Lab from Pearson, SAE International. There's Goodhart Wilcox, Pearson, Cengage, and Halderman's website we'll talk about in a minute. And of course, these are the fuse measurement charts for power probe, where you're measuring the amount of current flow through a fuse with a voltmeter. Halderman's website. Many of you may be aware of it or use it. Some of you may not. This is the most complete automotive instructor resources available on the web. What do you get if you go to his website? Well, first of all, even though you do not use his books, you have free access to all of the resources for each book, including PowerPoints, lesson plans, task sheets, quizzes, tests, animations, the whole 9 yards. There are over 3,000 animations, lesson plans, oscilloscope animations, part IDs by ASE area. If you want, there's a free 2-week trial subscription available. There's the guy to call, and here's his contact information. Again, that's in your handout. You get PowerPoints puzzles, question bank, ASC study guides, quizzes, schematic animations and images, task correlation charts, task sheets. Some of you are having trouble writing task sheets. They're all done for you there, and video links. The cost, $175 a year or $15 a month. Again, you get a free trial. Free resources from Pearson and online assessments. And there is a free monthly newsletter that you can sign up for by getting hold of Jim Halderman, jimhalderman.com, and sign up for his free monthly newsletter. It comes up with articles, quizzes, lots of good information on that newsletter. Maybe some of you already know it. Consider having administration authorize full or partial academic credit, math or science, for your program. This is one of the things that I did. I got a quarter credit, a half credit, or even full credit. You teach alignment geometry. You teach brakes, which is pressure differential and measurement. You teach Ohm's law, mathematics, equations, and calculations. You have them read surface information, engine precision measurement, math, science, and reading. Many other examples in your program. There are several good automotive math textbooks and basic physics science textbooks available written for automotive programs. You may consider adopting an automotive student testing website. This helps you assess students' progress, support ASC aligned instructions, and strengthen certification readiness through a simple online platform built for automotive education. Provides multilingual test creations and scoring for students on a host of automotive topics. There's the website. You can get a trial access free, and it's available by 1 semester or 2 semesters per student. Has ASC aligned tests and quizzes, timed and untimed testing, standardized test, ASC content area quizzes, key terminology, animated training videos, oscilloscope and schematic videos, instructor reporting, automated weekly reports, on-demand reports, instructor-controlled test access, multi-device online access. They can access it from their phone, and multilingual test support. And you get a free instructor trial. So there's the website. It's in your handout. It's called Automotive Student Testing. I would subscribe to all of the popular periodicals. Students say, I hate to read, but if you give them something of interest, all of a sudden they will read, and you can assign research reports and etc. for extra credit. You got to be careful because they're stolen easily from your shop, but maintain some security. It's a very popular spot for your students. Remember when this magazine was given free to schools, Tomorrow's Technician magazine by Babcock's Publishing. Well, guess what? It isn't given anymore in printed version. However, it is now virtual. Maybe some of you are already there. Now they have a lot more information. You see that there's training classes there on fuel pump electrical diagnosis, GDI or general test prep. It's now totally virtual. It's still free to use, but you need the website. Lots more resources and information available. And there's the website to sign up for Tomorrow's Technician resource. Consider joining Facebook professional groups, not Bubba, who has a video in his backyard, but professional groups. Here's 4, ASC Automotive Education feeds. There's Automotive Technology Instructors, Commitment to Training, and Automotive Educators. These are professional groups, and all you have to do is go to Facebook and search that title. Join, and you'll be involved with their discussions. Most training companies like Delphi, MotorAge, Pico, Snap-on, Ford, GM, and Stellantis all have their own Facebook groups that you can search and join. This is primarily related to automotive oscilloscopes, but if you want to find out about Facebook oscilloscope groups, Pico has 3 of them: Technicians Training Group and Automotive Lab Scope Diagnostics. I belong to 17 oscilloscope Facebook groups myself. These are just 4. Okay, we talked about getting newer cars, and we showed you a picture of a beater that was pretty much like many of you may have. How do you get newer cars that you currently have? How many used car dealers are in your area? How many new car dealers are in your area? Tip 11. All right, Krieger, tell me how this works. Well, it's a little out of the box, but it really works well if properly organized and carried out. Now, some of you may have a policy in your shop that prevents live work. I really feel bad for you if that's the case, and I would work hard with your advisory committee to get him to change that. Everybody's afraid of liability. Guess what? When students walk into your shop and open the door, they're liable. School is liable for anything that goes on in your shop, whether you do live work or not. So what you do, you go to an auto dealer or someone you're familiar with, a used car dealer, and you say, hey, I know that your line technicians really hate to do used cars, hate to do trade-ins, hate to do vehicle inspections. Consider having our class do them for you. Bring them out to me and we'll do a bumper-to-bumper full safety inspection, give you a printed report of what we find. We have the time to do it. We're not worried about flat rate. We can teach our students how to properly do a safety check on a car, and we're going to find things wrong. Now, it's up to you, but if you want to even repair some of those things, many dealerships would love to have you do that. Yes, you can have it certified by a certified inspector, a technician, or yourself, but students would be having lots of work to do. We did this at my shop for 25 years, and I had more work than I knew what to do. Yes, I got a lot of phone calls from Mr. and Mrs. Public saying, hey, will you overhaul my engine or will you do a brake job? And sometimes I did, but most of the time I said no because they want it in 3 days and they want it for nothing. And I said no. This really works well. Yes, there's some legal paperwork involved, there's work orders involved, there's an agreement with your administration, and you say, well, they'll never go for that. Well, your advisory committee is the key person to make this happen, and it does work very well. Common sources of where to get newer vehicles and to start this process: used car lots, new car dealerships, car rental agencies, local contractors, anything with fleets, government or social service organizations. All of these are potential sources for newer technology vehicles that you can bring into your shop. I'm telling you, this works very well. How about new equipment? You can't afford all this new equipment that you need for 1234 YF refrigerant or a new alignment machine or whatever. How do we do this? Well, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can take your students to a shop and have the technician or the instructor or yourself do a little bit of instruction on it and show them how it works. And if you're in good relationship with the owner of the shop, you can even borrow that equipment. And ASE Education Foundation approves that process. You do not have to buy equipment in your shop to get your task certified. You can do it through borrowing or loaning. It works. Consider adopting a very basic or even an advanced electric vehicle program. If you're a high school, I would stay away from any major service procedures, but cover charging and maintenance basics. Remember, VEV still has tires, brakes, suspension, all the things you can do on a regular car, you do on an EV. For post-secondary programs, let you and your advisory committee, along with your administration, set up shop policies and acceptable procedures allowed. EVs are here to stay, and in some locations are becoming ever more popular than before. Why not prepare your students for them? I know Kurt Ward and some others you in this presentation today run very strong EV programs, alternative fuel vehicle programs. It really works well. Refer to your handout for details on 13 suggestions and ideas that have been proven to be successful for improving your program's curriculum, tools, and equipment. Again, I don't have time to go through each one, but there's lots of detail there. Marketing your program. View your program as a product that you are trying to sell. Ask yourself, why would anyone buy this class? Ask yourself, what do they know about my class? It's been my experience that many programs that were closed or in danger of being closed have or had little or no program marketing effort or plans. It's many of the last things that instructors think about, marketing your program. I shouldn't have to. They're supposed to come to me. Guess what? In today's world, you have to market. It's easy to blame other things and other people, but the solution always is up to you if you want your program to be successful. Your handout contains 20 proven suggestions for program marketing that have made a huge differences in the past and will continue to do so in the future. I had a waiting list every year of students trying to get into my program, not because I was great, but because I marketed the program through the community. Is your program viable? It's a tough question to ask. What makes any product popular and in demand? Create a market, meet a demand, and they will come. Examine most solution suggestions from a marketing point of view. Ask yourself, this is hard to do, why would I take my class? Don't just assume that it's good for job training. Why does a student want to sign up for your class? What will this class give me if I complete the requirements? Is this class fun and cool? Are my friends taking this class? Do you take your program too seriously for all the right reasons? What is your reputation among students in your school? I know I have secondary and post-secondary instructors here, and some of these are a little different between the two categories, but there's a lot of similarities too. This is one tip. Tip number 14. This is what I did in my school. I had a student business card that I had our graphics department. I designed it, I came up with it, I gave these to each of my students. I changed some of the wording here because of privacy, but I developed a professional looking business card for students to pass out to the public when appropriate. In this case, we assisted somebody, a stranded motorist, flat tire, push him out of snow drift or whatever. They gave them the card. Often their cards are given out by students when they're asked about your class from a friend. It's another method of advertising. A typical instructor business card is too formal, too much stuff. You just need something really neat and interesting for someone to read about your program. A critical element marketing of any robust program is a website. You've got to have a strong website. And if you leave it up to your school to develop the website, you're making a big mistake, in my opinion. This is an example of a website that I'd like to show you. Now, there's a full audio here that you won't be able to hear. This is a school in Michigan called Roseville High School. And you can check this video out yourself. Gets interest of people that are thinking about signing up for the program. You should have a robust website showing video of your program in operation. You may have to get some permission from administration, but many schools have good websites for the program. You don't want to bury it so you can't find it if you go to the school's website. It's got to be available. Recent research has shown that schools must participate in social media sites or be ignored. Your program can easily set up sites highlighting your program. I would suggest that you have a Facebook site for your program. Consider having a YouTube channel for your program. Ask yourself this question. Are students today involved in social media? Of course they are. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, they all use it every day. Why not get your program involved in some of that activity? The Automotive Technicians Network, IATN, again, there's lots of discussion groups for automotive instructors. There's a stored waveform library for oscilloscope patterns if you choose to join at the corporate level, but it's free if you don't. Lots of OEM training courses, Ford, Toyota, GM, and all free. And as I said earlier, the entire GM Specialized Electronics training class is available for your students, all free. They have full access to every page of that handout. Scott Brown's new diagnostic network is another website like IATN, except this one, they vet everything. So everything, there's no junk, there's no crazy stuff on here. Lots of discussion forums, again, stored waveform libraries. Now this requires a subscription if you want some of the higher level resources. Diag.net. It's $0 if you want to just participate in discussions, but it's $150 a month or a year if you want the whole 9 yards. YouTube, awesome resource for education. In this course, because I teach so many oscilloscope classes, I use oscilloscope from what I train my instructors on how to access good information on YouTube. So what have I done? I put in search terms in red. Automotive oscilloscope basics from a YouTube. And you get 12 very good videos, not Bubba's video, but good from resources. Change one word, automotive oscilloscope training, and you change all of the results that you get from that search. Automotive oscilloscope waveform analysis. Pico Automotive, Scanner Danner oscilloscope. Maybe you know Paul Danner, good friend of mine. Automotive oscilloscope Snap-on. Snap-on has many different YouTube videos on your Modus, your Verus, and so on. Another point that's really a sore one with me. How much do counselors that schedule students in your class really know about your program? Now, this is primarily for secondary schools, but still, counselors are taking students into the counseling office for their schedule as a junior, senior, or sophomore, and scheduling. How much do they know about your program? How much do parents know about your program? Do your potential employers have full knowledge of what your program is all about? Do you feel that it might help your program if they knew more about what goes on in your program? So what do? You have an open house dedicated to just counselors and administrators. Not everybody will come. But I've had counselors that I've never seen before come into the shop, and they walk around and they stare at all the corners and they say, wow, I never knew this was like this. And yet they were scheduling students for my program. Now, I was a skill center, which I had feeder schools, and these counselors were scheduling students, but have never visited the shop. I also had open house dedicated for parents and friends or relatives of my students. Sometimes I did it on a Saturday. Dedicated to advisory committee members. You should have an open house for your advisory committee. Many employers today have expectations that are unreasonable as to what they think your graduates are going to be able to do. Turn 40 hours a week in flat rate. It's not happening. That's why you need to make your people aware of what it is you've got going on in your program. Start a car club, fundraising activities. This is Roseville High School again, good example. Your handout contains 20 suggestions and ideas that have been proven to be successful for the marketing of your program and to recruit successful students. Community involvement. How can your program be made stronger by your involvement in your community? The advisory board or committee. Many of you have one because you're told to. I had the largest advisory committee at my center. I had 25 people on board, and they made a huge difference in my program. Our advisory committee or boards important to a program's success? And the absolutely answer is yes, yes, and yes. Your handout contains 8 major topics and 40 detailed items pertaining to advisory committee. Over 20% of your handout material is dedicated to advisory committees and how important they are to your program. Advantages of a robust and active advisory board: creates a realistic expectation about your program and the employers for your students, and you encourage employers to come visit your program. Do it once a month, whatever you feel. I've had managers, shop owners, lead technicians come in and talk to your students. You're breaking down the unknown communication between them. And then I would give salted questions, little sheets to my better students. And I'd say, when I nod my head, you ask this question. So this employer gives a little talk to the students and is, are there any questions? Well, usually isn't. So then I nod my head and he looks at his sheet and he says, what do I have to do to get fired if you hired me? Oh, let me tell you. And he goes on to these stories. How much do you expect me to be able to do when I start employment at your shop? How many tools do you expect me to own? And before long, the discussion goes on and on and on. And I've had employers ask me to come to visit my program. It's a great resource. It provides students with direct access to those who may be hiring them upon graduation. It keeps your program as public awareness with taxpayers and supporters. It provides a powerful support to your administration for purchases and budget expenditures. More public awareness equals more job security. No administration is going to close a program that is very popular with the community. Helps with justifying new tools and equipment, provides a gateway for employment with job shadowing and co-op programs. Set up a car donation program, which is one of the things that I did. Now it's got to be handled very carefully, and there's legal things involved, but we took in donations from many sources, repaired them, and the organization donated the car to a pre-qualified family. Lots of publicity, newspaper pictures for the program, as well as providing a meaningful service to the community. The proper paperwork is needed, but it's doable. We were not part of the selection process. You must guard carefully against that. If necessary, you involve local repair shops and law enforcement certification for the quality of the vehicle. We had auto parts stores donate a lot of parts when we were designing or rebuilding a car for the public. This really works good for public involvement. Here are samples of other donation programs that are used throughout the country. Cars for Heroes is a very popular one for veterans. Here's an idea you may not have thought about. Go to your auto parts stores, and you probably have these stores in your town, and offer to have them do their technical training at your shop. And ask how many students of yours that can attend that training free. I wouldn't charge them anything, but just offer your shop. You know, it's better than sitting in a chair down 2 aisles of an auto parts store. That's a good idea, may work for you. Your handout contains details on 7 suggestions and ideas that have proven to be successful for community involvement in your program. Funding, we all want more money. Your handout contains details on 4 categories discussing how to increase programs and asset funding. You can apply for grants. If your school has a grant writer, you're blessed. If not, you may have to hire one. But there's more grants go unused throughout the country than the ones that are used. You need to get a hold of John Bukowski from Council Lab, who has a lot of good information on grants that are available for schools today, teaching technology classes, especially EVs. There's lots of money out there available. There's 46 tips, ideas, suggestions, and possibility for enhancing your program. Refer to your handout for additional details and websites. Many of these are definitely out of the box thinking, but all have successful track records of success at many programs around the country. Here they are: shop and classroom condition, curriculum, academic credit for your class, join support organizations, student competitions. Notice the asterisk after student competitions. Those are some of the most successful ways of getting your students involved in your program. ASC Education Foundation adoption. If you're not already certified, I would suggest you get it. Using resources in your classrooms. I mean, I would go to all of the auto parts repair places in town. I'd go to the salvage yards and I'd say, hey, what do you do with your cores? Oh, sometimes we'd have to turn them in, sometimes we'd junk them. Give them to me. I'll pay for the core charge of that transmission. I need something to work on. I don't want brand new stuff. I want stuff that needs work. I want to show these students what goes wrong with these parts. It really worked well for me. Adopt a student testing software program for your students. Subscribe to related periodicals. Join legitimate Facebook groups. Get newer vehicles in your shop. Get newer tools and equipment in your shop. Adopting an EV program. So here's 13 of the 46. Marketing your program, which is very, very critical. I had a trifold of my program, and I went to every restaurant in my little town and said, can I have these at your cash stand? Some said yes, some said no. I put them at every repair facility in town. Asked them if I could have them at their cash register. Sure you can. I got a lot of people asking questions about my program. Create a student business card program. Use social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Have an open house for just counselors and staff. Have an open house and career days at your school. Attend career days at other schools, especially if you're a post-secondary school. You should be attending all of those activities. Have employers visit your program. Extremely valuable. Attend local car shows and community festivals with your marketing program. Hold at least 2 open houses a year in your shop. Use invitations to have students visit your class and your program. Encourage your students to bring guests to class. Consider using class t-shirts, hats, and jackets. They love to have identification of what class they're in. Have a meaningful and related field trips. Being in Michigan, we went to Henry Ford Museum every year. What a treat that was. Have open shop days in the evenings or on weekends. You got to do this very carefully. You don't want to be overhauling engines, but do oil change, rotate and balance, safety inspections. Yes, you can do it very easily. Get them involved. Consider starting a car club. There's lots of links in your handout. Here's one you may not have thought of. Create a student achievement board in your shop. Have a bulletin board. Some of these students crave acknowledgement. Have a student who is got a better attendance than he had last semester. Acknowledge it. Better quality for citizenship or effort. I mean, it's important that we identify students and their progress. Some of the parents have come up to me and said, wow, no one has ever told my son before that he was doing a good job in school. Invite your administrative board to have a meeting in your shop. What? Yes. Ask your Board of Education if they'll have a meeting in your shop. Many of them have never been in your shop. You clean it up real nice. You get a couple of tables and chairs. Your students are there. You give a little talk about your program if you wish, and then have everybody leave. Let them have their meeting in privacy. Annual Christmas party or end of the year party. What a blessing that has been for my program. Started out with pizza. That's the easiest. The day I retired, we had grills. We had mom's special favorite dish that the kid brought. It was the talk of the school. Have an awards banquet or meeting at the end of the year. Go into your auto parts stores and ask for donations for door prizes. Reward your students for good achievement or accomplishment. They've never had that before. Be aware of what administration feels is important about. Do your own follow-up surveys, not the ones that the school does, your own. Develop a robust advisory committee. Advisory committee we had 2 a year. Oh, it's what ASC requires. We had one in person and one I went to the shop and did a in-house meeting. So I just shared with the ideas and to save them. They don't have to come out twice a year. Worked out very well. Use job shadowing and work experience. Suggested involvement with advisory committees is covered in your handout. Interaction with the advisory committee members is covered in the handout. Develop and distribute a program newsletter. If you don't have one, I would suggest you do one. Set up a vehicle donation program. Hold local auto parts store shop training at your shop. Use grants to supplement your program. Use fundraising events to help your program. Keep accurate and expenditure records. Don't just ask for more money. Show them where the money goes. Many administrators have no idea what it costs to run your program. Ask local businesses for donations. What do you do with the part you took off a car that's junk? Well, we throw it away. No, give it to me. I'll be happy to take it and show my students what broke. This is your handout. Again, hyperlink to each item. And here's one example of one page. This is tip 14. The entire page is details of tip 14, which is marketing your program. Conclusions? Is it you against the system? Is there any hope for you? Are you just doing a job to get a paycheck, which isn't very big anymore? But do you feel excited to show up with work every day? Are you challenged? Do you like your job? Most definitely, yes. If You understand the rules, understand both the cost and the payback to you of changing things, be willing to pay the price, have the commitment, accept potential failures, understand the system, be patient, but never give up. Know that these ideas have proven success track records. They're not just my ideas. Many of them are, and many of them I have done, but these are not just all my ideas. So success, there are waiting lists for your classes. Your students are successful and happy. You have new cars, lots of tools and equipment. You are well known in the community. Your program is highly respected among your peers and the community. You are happy, secure in your job, and enjoy what you're doing. A guy told me years ago it's pretty sad when a guy has to wait till Friday night to start having fun. If you can have fun and get paid for it, you're blessed. Thank you for your time and participation in this program. We hope that you are able to apply this information to your program and perhaps make it more successful. If you don't have my contact information, here it is. If you want to get a hold of me for anything to do with Council Lab or outside of Council Lab to do with teaching or experiences that I've had in your job, this is my contact information. That is not in the handout. So if you want to take a screenshot or write that down, you can.
So thank you, everybody.
There's the handout. So make sure you get your copy.